welcome to Flosstube number 2, and hopefully I'll do better this time and speak a little bit more slowly and let you see my projects for just a little bit longer. So where do I start today? Today I think I'm going to show you first of all an old finish. It was a round robin I did in a group I've been a member of for 20 years. Some of the people in the group I've met in real life and some are only online friends. Most of them are based in the US and Canada. And this was a group of 6 stitchers, so me and 5 other people, and my theme was a fairy garden, and so I asked people to stitch either a fairy or a flower in a designated space on the piece of fabric, and then afterwards I filled in some bits. So here is the I'll scoot back a bit so you can see more of it. Here is the round robin, which you can see has got a lot of stitching on it. Okay, and it's on a silk weaver opalescent even weave, possibly Lugana, I think. And on the top is the word fairy in a flower alphabet, and then you've got the flowers and the fairies that were done as part of the round robin. The pink fairy here, the water lily, the blue fairy, the daffodil, the crocus, and this pink fairy, and all the signatures at the bottom. And then at the very bottom it says the word garden using the same alphabet as the top. And as you can see, this one went around the world, to Massachusetts, Maryland, Canada, Virginia, the Netherlands, and took some time to come back. And then when it came back, I filled in all of the spaces with smaller flowers so that there's no gaps. And since it came back, I have done nothing with it, but I intend to get it framed at some point. I really do. I promise I do. And I ironed them this week. And then I'm going to show you what I worked on this week. So the first one is Hallows Eve Haunting, which was the one I couldn't find last week until after I'd recorded, and it's by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And it's on fabric that I overdyed myself with tan and charcoal liquid Rit dye, because I couldn't get any Pictures Plus murky at the time I wanted to start it, and so I decided to have a go at making my own version of murky. It doesn't have quite the same amount of variation as the Pictures Plus, but it does have a pretty spooky look. And I'll put in the corner where I was last week. I think I did, if I can hold this up, I think I did most of her face and hair and this bit of her dress, cape. And then next I worked on my English Village sampler. There's nothing but variety in my life. And so this one is the one that's on the mint green linen mix, which has got a very slubby look, but it's actually beautifully easy to stitch on. So you can see the schoolhouse and a cottage, and this is the country pub, and there's another cottage which I did quite a bit of work on. So I worked on filling the windows in, did some of the grass, filled in some other bits on the walls of the cottage. And again, I will put a picture so you can see where I was at on that one last week. And that's a design by Mary Hickmott that I've rearranged and changed a little bit to suit what's actually in my town where I live, or town, small town, large village where I live. The next one was The Witch's Spell. So this one is also another one by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and this one is also on a piece of fabric that I overdyed myself with charcoal Rit dye and some, I think it might be denim blue, but mostly it's charcoal grey. And the bit I did this week was the bright green, which is DMC 16, which is the first time I've actually used the one of the colours from 1 to 35 in a design. Yeah, loving this one. So I say Aaron Houston is an incredibly talented artist, and I love the way that he translates his artwork into stitching, because they're easy to stitch but they still look great. You can tell he's married to a stitcher, that's all I can say. And then the next one I worked on was Deer Forest by Owl Forest Embroidery, which is on I think it's 28 count cashel from Zweigart, using that, it was a kit, and it's using the Owl Forest threads, and I did only dark green on it, so I did all of this bit of the border across here and this emblem here, motif here. Yeah, I love the threads, they're beautiful, the variation in them is fabulous. I'd highly recommend them as well. The service was incredibly quick. It didn't take very long at all to arrive. And yeah, beautifully packaged kit. It comes in a cardboard box, comes with a needle minder and a needle and the threads, which are absolutely gorgeous. It was my Christmas present, so I started this one on Christmas Day. This one is actually a Whipgo goal, but it's not one that's been called yet, and I've actually finished the amount I needed to do on Whipgo because I said I wanted to get it 25% complete, and I've managed that now. And finally this week I worked on the Victoria Quaker by Mon Ami Pierre, and I was tired, so I really didn't do very much on this one, but I did finish the top row, so this is the entire width of it, and I finished this quarter Quaker emblem in the corner. And this one I'm using Carrie's Creations threads. This one is light raspberry and this one is navy. Unfortunately you can't get Carrie's anymore because she seems to have given up, dying, which is a shame because they were beautiful threads and I love stitching with them. Long way to go on this one though. It's only about 5% complete, but I'll keep plodding on. I love a lot of the designs by Mon Ami Pierre, and I was absolutely devastated when she decided to give up designing because of piracy. So that's a bit of a bugbear of mine, because some of my favourite designers no longer design or produce new charts, and it's very, very hard to find the Mon Ami Pierre ones anymore, although I do keep a lookout for them. So and now on to plans. Well, I hopefully will do some stitching next week. I'm doing a bit of an arbitrary August, so I've put all of my projects into a wheel and I spin it every day to see what I'm going to stitch. And today's project is a recipe for a magical night by Alessandra Adelaide, which is this one, which if I hold it back you can get the whole thing. This one is also a Whipgo goal for this year, and the goal is to finish it. So I'm hoping I can. It's about 60% complete at the moment. I'm loving the bright colours on it, except the satin thread, which is the neon green and the neon yellow. They're a bit tricky to work with. I find that if I make them damp, they're much tamer. I also have done the DMC cotton in 2 strands, but only 1 strand for the satin, because I find that it lays a little bit thicker than the cotton, and so it looks better if I only use 1 strand of that. But yeah, it's looking good so far. As you can see, I do quite a lot of Halloween stitching. I try and do some Halloween stitching every week, and some Christmas stitching at least once a month, because I'd love to put more out for the seasons and decorate for the seasons, and if I do that, then I will show you what I managed to get up on the walls. But I will take 2 seconds to just turn this around and see if you can see, because on the wall here is Midsummer Night's Fairy, and I will actually take a photo and insert that in the video later, and I hope it doesn't make you feel seasick with moving the camera. I'll try not to do that too much in the future, and hopefully I will see you next week or in a couple of weeks. And here's a little addendum of things that I forgot to mention, and that is that I don't have any haul yet. I do have some bits on the way to me. I ordered some fabric for my next planned start. I know 36 works in progress is definitely not enough. I need 37 at least, maybe 38. So I have a piece of linen coming from Sew It All, which is for a Bristol orphanage sampler called the Squirrel Sampler from a French company called Color Tourterelle. I'll find a picture and insert it. And once the fabric arrives here, I'm going to get out my trusty sulky colour card, which sits here, and then I'm going to see which shade of red I want to use on the fabric, because I've ordered 36 counts, so I should be able to use the sulky on its own single strand. And I'm going to use a solid colour because the Bristol red samplers, Bristol orphanage samplers, were very bright red, usually on a off-white cream fawn background, so that's what I'm planning on doing. It's a bit of a monster. It's 380 stitches by 480 something, I think, from memory. So that one will be another big project, because I don't have enough at all. And behind me, because we're in a different location this week, you have some, and I say some loosely, some of my stitching supplies. So these crates are all threads. There is most of my scissors collection in a frog, and then there's lots of bits and pieces that I use for finishing things. There's a sewing machine, and this is my works in progress box, and then there is 2 crates full of patterns lower down, which are disorganized, and they're not the only ones I have either. I've got more elsewhere. I have a bit of a problem. Yeah, I definitely have a collecting problem. I need more time to stitch. I definitely need more time to stitch. Anyway, I will see you next week. Bye.